The U.S. Navy is spending billions to reinforce its Puget Sound Naval Shipyard. And they're openly saying it's because the Cascadia Subduction Zone. This is the Navy's top facility for nuclear subs, and it's 100 miles from the fault of Cascadia Subduction Zone. And at the same time, I've uncovered nerve-rattling evidence of military evacuation plans quietly being prepared for in the Pacific. This is surfacing around the time when the Oregon governor signed a Cascadia Subduction Zone executive order. Think about that. Evacuation prep in the Pacific, military reinforcement in Washington, and official executive action on Cascadia Subduction Zone. And I know a lot of you are going to be wondering, well, how did you get your hands on the official U.S. military evacuation documents? Well, one of my viewers lives on the base in the Pacific that the military was forced to relocate off of after a volcanic eruption from the underwater volcano Iwo Jima. His wife is active duty military, and after him watching my video, he told me about this emergency packet that they received. I asked him, can you confirm that packet? Now let me read to you what he said about the emergency evacuation plan before we get into the full details. They are just a precautionary plan. They don't specify any particular emergency. We are to keep a go bag of clothes and documents for all family members and pets. Plan is to be able to be off the ground inside 30 minutes. Think about that. 30 minutes is all the time military families are given to move if things shift. It doesn't matter if it's a quake, a volcano, or something else. The expectation is 30 minutes and you're gone. If military families are being told this, then we should be asking the question, and why aren't we being told anything like this? So what does this mean for the West Coast, Alaska, Canada, all these areas that's right along that zone where everything can quickly shift fast? Now let's look directly at the emergency packet itself. If you look right here on screen, it's called the Emergency Evacuation Program Packet. You can see the official seals of the Air Force, Navy, Unified Command. And let's look at this section right here. It says emergency bag and kit checklist, suggested items needed during a crisis and evacuation. Okay, let's check this next part. Map from residence to rally point to send and representative if you are unaccounted for. This isn't speculation. These are line by line instructions for families to go specifically where they need to be, what to bring, and how fast to leave. These words wasn't written for civilians. There's more to this document, but first I need you to hit that subscribe button right now, because we're going to give you all information and updates on things that most people will not be getting. And that's why this is the area where community meets actual real world scenarios that we can talk to our families across all of these zones and know exactly what to look for in the coming times. All right, let's go into section 3, evacuation and finance order forms. I think this part is interesting because Nankai Tro is in Japan. They just did drills here. They actually just relocated to this area after the magma shifted under the water with the Pacific volcano and then erupted. And the mayor actually didn't want them to have the drills there, which is interesting. The military said in a statement that this was important to increase the strength of the U.S. response and deterrence capabilities. So they relocated to the Megaquake danger zone. And if this Megaquake strikes here, it's not just something for Japan, which could affect United States supply chain, and then the waves of this tsunami could reach all the way to the West Coast. Orders of letters of employment assigning SOFA members to Japan. They have their evacuation orders here, civilian authorization for emergency evac advance, and military authorization for emergency pay and allowance. This means that they might not be able to get finances during the disaster operations. It's going to cause for a big move to happen. And now, just as I'm making this video, a 5.9 earthquake just struck off of Oregon's coast.
Has been some earthquake activity here, not too far offshore. You can see several red circles there. Those are the different earthquakes that have been sensed. Right here, we're looking at 3. The earliest one was at 11:45. It was about 9 miles deep and about a 6 magnitude. Then there was one just a little closer to the top, only 6 miles deep, also magnitude 6. And then just a little while later, another one at about 12:22 this morning.
This is right on the edge of the Cascadia Subduction Zone. This isn't speculation. Over 24 people reported feeling shaking this far off the coast. Now, no tsunami alerts was issued, but this is the exact area scientists warn could trigger the big one. I said earlier this week, we need to watch for a 4.0 or 5.0 hitting Cascadia Subduction Zone following the 7.7 quake that hit Russia. We got that happening now. But this is about a pattern unfolding across the Pacific that we've been monitoring. When we combine this with the quiet evacuation plans that the military has, this tells us this isn't just random shaking. This is something officials are watching and preparing for. Now we have to watch for if this is just going to be aftershocks. It's going to be maybe 4 or 5s, around that range. Also, if this is a creeping situation, just like Hayward Fault on Bay Area got hit recently, that's a creeping fault. All this happened a little back to back too. But if another 5 hits with 4 shock magnitude, this is telling us that stress along Cascadia is shifting. It's a trigger that sets the stage for something larger to come. If a 6.0 plus goes off, that's when alarm bells are going to go off, and in a tsunami situation, it's going to become an active warning. And don't forget, the silent zones that are not moving right now, all the faults by San Andreas are just as important, because these are the zones that are actually going to be affected as well. So what you can do right now as a community is share what's happening in your local area with me right now in the comment section, and we can get to all that information, because we want to know this. Therefore, we can gather even more information to get it out to you. People in the comments said the Oregon military was also preparing. Unconfirmed reports on that. But the thing is, the more you get to me, we can confirm these reports and get all the official language out for you to see. This community has gotten a lot of help out to people, and you will continue to do that, whether you're new coming in, whether you've been here forever. Stick here, because we're actually looking out for every scenario. Now I got to leave you with an official plan. Look at this. So all these zones in the red, this is where it's going to start to sink at, especially in the dark red zones. You need to move all the way back towards Nevada, Idaho, at least end of Oregon, at least the back end of the border of Washington. Check this out. All the plate motion 50, 43, 36, 30 is going to start going in. We got the fracture zone and also the new crack over there in Gorda Ridge. And you may have less than 30 minutes, like the military's official language says. Puget Sound, their base is right there where the subduction zone is at. So I don't know what they're preparing for, but they're going to go down in the water unless they can float up or somehow project out of the water. And Willamette Valley, from all the official geological documents, is going to start sinking and be liquefaction happening quickly. Here's the bigger picture. This isn't just a freak hole in the ocean. It's proof our coastlines is already fragile. With new quakes shaking the Cascadia zone, geologists warn that these coastal caves and lava tubes can collapse suddenly, opening dangerous new pits where waves suck people in. Be safe, stay away from the depths of these zones. That's why families need to stay alert, because these same forces that create these ocean pits are tied to the megaquake scientists say is inevitable.
See on the coast, however, much like a lot of the coast, it can be very dangerous.
A witness told officials the person may have been too close to the edge. The Yachats Rural Fire District says just before 4 p.m., they, along with several other agencies, including the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office, responded to the apparent drowning.
Because of that, formation there, it presents a very tricky situation for any first responders to get in, because obviously safety to all of our responders is what's paramount.
Even with today's advanced rescue teams, they couldn't even get close right away. That shows you how dangerous these pits are. They don't just threaten lives, they prevent rescue teams from arriving on time. And the locals know about some of this, but here's what most people don't realize. The Oregon coastline and Pacific coastline in general are full of hidden sea caves, unstable cliffs, hollow out lava tubes. Now add in the 5.9 Oregon earthquake that just happened off the coast. That shaking didn't just happen offshore. It transferred into the coastlines, which meaning more caves and cliffs are at risk of collapse. Now I've laid out the full Cascadia blueprint. All I can do is pray to God that the message gets to our brothers and sisters around these areas and see the bigger picture for what's coming so that we can be together through this, just like I did when we got through Hurricane Katrina, but this would be much more devastating. But the thing is if we know early, we give thousands and thousands of people a chance to even have this early warning system, and we will be here doing that. But something just happened in the Cascadia Subduction Zone that nobody is telling you about. It has begun, and you need to see this for survivability. Don't let them hide it.